Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we dig into a whole stack of sources, articles, research, whatever we've got, really. And we pull out the key insights, the most important bits, tailored just for you. Today, we're diving into Stoicism. Now, this might sound like some, dusty old philosophy class stuff, but actually, it's an ancient way of thinking that feels incredibly relevant for dealing with our, let's face it, often chaotic modern lives. Our main source today is Stoicism. Reprogram your mind for resilience and growth.
Exactly. And our mission, what we really want to do today is unpack some practical Stoic techniques. We want to show you how these sort of timeless ideas can help you shift your mindset, find a bit more inner peace, and really boost your emotional resilience. Ultimately, the aim is to give you tools, ways to manage your thoughts and emotions better so you can handle life's challenges with, more confidence and calm.
Okay, let's get right into it then. When we say Stoicism, what is that fundamentally? And why are we talking about an ancient philosophy today? Why is it still, applicable?
Right. Well, basically, Stoicism is a philosophy all about developing self-control and resilience. Inner strength, really. It's grounded in understanding virtue and wisdom. And its core teaching, I'd say, is that real happiness. It comes from living in line with nature, which means focusing hard on what you can actually control.
Your own thoughts, reactions.
Precisely. And just as importantly, accepting what you can't control, the external stuff. It's about finding that mental stability even when things outside are, chaotic.
Okay. And the source material brings up some really big names who shaped this. People like Marcus Aurelius.
The Roman emperor, yeah. His meditations are basically his private journal.
Right. And Seneca, the statesman. What kind of insights from them, or just from Stoicism generally, really hit home for, building resilience now?
Well, what's so interesting about Aurelius and Seneca is how they lived it. They weren't just academics. Marcus, for example, was constantly reminding himself about what we now call the dichotomy of control. It's that fundamental split. There are things absolutely in your power, your judgments, your intentions, how you choose to respond. And then there's everything else. Health, wealth, other people's opinions.
Which is most things, really.
Exactly. And just recognizing that distinction, truly internalizing it, that's where the freedom starts. Applying that today, it massively helps with stress. Because you stop wasting energy fighting things you were never going to win anyway. You focus your efforts where they count.
Okay, so it starts with understanding that control thing. But the source also makes this really powerful point about our thoughts. That they basically create our emotional reality. Can you break that down a bit? How does that work? How do we actually use that?
Yeah, that's a huge piece of it. It's all about perception. How you interpret events is what really shapes your mindset, not the events themselves. The Stoics had this idea, the discipline of assent. It means consciously choosing which impressions or initial thoughts you agree with, which ones you assent to. So, say you have a setback at work. Your first thought might be, I failed.
Right, that automatic negative thing.
Exactly. But the Stoic approach is to pause and question it. Is this really a failure? Or is it just an outcome I didn't want? What can I control now? My response, what I learned from this.
Yeah.
You're actively reframing it, seeing it maybe as an opportunity to learn or practice patience or whatever. Same with criticism. Instead of immediately feeling attacked, you could choose to see it as potentially useful feedback. You observe your reaction instead of just being carried away by it.
And it sounds like mindfulness is pretty key to actually doing that, to catching those thoughts. The source really highlights that.
Oh, absolutely crucial. Being present, being aware of what's actually going through your mind moment to moment. That's what gives you the space, that little gap between the stimulus, like the criticism, and your reaction. It allows you to understand your emotional responses better and then choose how to react, rather than just having that knee-jerk emotional response. It's incredibly empowering for your mental well-being. And building on that, that idea of how we relate to things we can't control, there's this core Stoic concept, amor fati.
Amor fati, love of fate.
Exactly, love of fate. And it's not about being passive or just giving up. It's more active than that. It's an encouragement to accept and even embrace whatever happens. Seeing adversity not as something terrible to be avoided, but as just part of the journey, maybe even a necessary part.
That's a really challenging idea. I mean,
Very.
Loving the bad stuff. The source mentions Viktor Frankl, the Holocaust survivor.
Yes, exactly. His experience is such a powerful, though obviously extreme, example. People like Frankl finding meaning and purpose in the absolute worst circumstances. It shows the power of this mindset. It shows it's possible.
It really does.
And their stories, they kind of remind us that we can thrive, even through hardship, if we shift how we look at it. If you view obstacles as, say, opportunities for growth, a chance to be more courageous or patient or wise. You actually build resilience through the difficulty. Instead of fighting reality, you work with it. You learn from it, and that shapes you into someone stronger, more capable. It turns challenges into fuel, really.
Okay, so embracing the big stuff, amor fati. But what about like the day-to-day, other practical things for keeping a more positive mindset? The source mentions gratitude. That's everywhere now. But how do the Stoics see it? Is it just think positive?
Good question. For a Stoic, gratitude is a bit different, maybe deeper. It's not just feeling happy about the good things you have. It connects back to that dichotomy of control, health, money, relationships. These are what the Stoics called indifference.
Indifference, meaning they don't matter.
Not quite don't matter, more like they aren't inherently good or bad in themselves, morally speaking. And crucially, they aren't ultimately in our control. They can be taken away. So Stoic gratitude is about appreciating these things, these preferred indifference, while remembering they're temporary and external. It fosters contentment, yeah, but without cling. It shifts your focus from what you lack to appreciating what's here now, but with a kind of healthy detachment.
Okay, that makes sense. Appreciating it, but knowing it's not the source of your core happiness, and it might not last.
Exactly. And the source suggests practical things, like you said, keeping a gratitude journal, maybe just listing 3 things each day, or just taking a quiet moment in the morning to reflect on what you do have, even simple things. The mental benefits are pretty well documented now, right? Less stress, better mood.
Right. So that detachment piece is interesting. If we appreciate things but aren't attached, what does that mean for how we approach our goals, our efforts versus, the actual results? How do we do that letting go? It sounds hard.
It is hard, but it loops right back to that control thing again. The key Stoic principle here is focusing intensely on your actions, your efforts, rather than obsessing over the results. You pour your energy into doing the task virtuously, with integrity, to the best of your ability. That part is in your control, your intention, your effort, your decisions along the way. The final outcome, whether you get the promotion, whether the project succeeds exactly as planned, that depends on a million external factors you don't control.
So you focus on the process, not the prize.
You got it. And doing that frees you up from so much anxiety about whether things will turn out perfectly. Some techniques. Well, mindfulness helps, again, just noticing feelings of attachment or anxiety about results without judgment. Another one is maybe visualizing different outcomes, including things not going your way, to kind of mentally prepare and reduce the fear. It builds resilience and peace, honestly. You act with confidence, but without that desperate need for a specific result.
Okay, so we keep coming back to like what's inside, what's in our control, our thoughts, our reactions, our efforts. And you mentioned mindfulness again. How exactly does mindfulness fit so neatly with Stoicism?
It's almost like they were made for each other, really. Mindfulness, just being fully present and aware of your thoughts and feelings without getting swept up in them, is fundamental. It allows you to observe your mind, observe your emotions, almost like you're watching clouds drift by. This creates that space for clarity and control we talked about. You're not trying to empty your mind, just watch it non-judgmentally. Simple ways to practice. Mindful breathing for a few minutes, taking moments during the day, just check in. Mindful walking even, just paying attention. The payoff is huge. Better clarity, less stress, more inner calm. It's about developing that deeper awareness of your internal landscape, which is, core Stoic stuff.
And that self-awareness theme. The source also talks about journaling as a powerful tool. How does writing things down help from a Stoic angle?
Yeah, journaling is fantastic for this. It's like a structured way to practice that Stoic introspection. Think of Marcus Aurelius's meditations. That was basically his journal. By writing down your thoughts, your experiences, how you responded to things, you create the space for reflection. You can analyze your emotions, your actions, see patterns. The source suggests prompts. Things like, what went well today? What didn't? How did I react to challenge X? What could I do differently?
So like a daily review.
Exactly. A review of your day through a Stoic lens. It helps you track how well you're actually living according to your principles. And the long-term benefits, definitely better emotional regulation, clearer thinking for decisions, and a stronger sense of purpose because you're actively shaping your character.
Okay, makes sense. Now, one last area. We've talked a lot about internal work. Is Stoicism basically a solo journey? Or is there a place for community, for other people and all this?
That's a really important question. Well, a lot of the work is internal discipline. The Stoics were actually big on community. They saw humans as inherently social beings. Surrounding yourself with like-minded people also trying to live virtuously. That's really valuable. It provides encouragement when things are tough. It gives you accountability too. And just hearing different perspectives on how to apply these ideas that can deepen your own understanding massively. The source mentions, finding groups or forums online or offline focused on Stoic philosophy.
Yeah, I can see that. Sharing struggles and strategies, hearing how someone else handled a tough situation using these principles must be really inspiring.
Totally. It makes it real. Shows you it's not just abstract theory. It inspires your own growth and resilience. So yeah, seeking out that community, people who share those values, it creates an environment that really supports your practice. It makes the whole journey less isolated and, frankly, probably more effective.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot. So quick recap. We looked at the power of perception, how our thoughts shape things, that discipline of assent.
Right. And amor fati, embracing challenge.
Loving fate,
Yeah.
And gratitude, but the Stoic version, tied to indifference.
And focusing on actions over outcomes, that dichotomy of control.
Plus mindfulness for presence, journaling for reflection.
And finally, not going it alone, the value of community.
It's a pretty comprehensive toolkit for resilience.
It really is. And the key, I think, is just taking those actionable steps consistently, even small ones. That's what leads to real growth and well-being, putting these ideas into practice. That's how you cultivate that more balanced, more fulfilling life they talked about.
Right. So thinking about all this, about reprogramming your mind for resilience, here's something for you, the listener, to consider. What's just one shift in perspective? Maybe amor fati, or focusing on actions, or even one small daily practice like a gratitude moment or a quick journal entry. What one thing are you curious to maybe experiment with this week just to see how it might start to unlock your potential and help you navigate whatever life throws your way with a bit more confidence?